Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. And today I will be talking about how you can improve your English speaking skills or become more fluent in this language. So, before we get started, I would like to tell you some background about me. So, like till the time when I was in school, I did not know how to speak English. Like I was good in written English, I always scored good marks, but when it came to speaking, I just knew one or two sentences that we used while talking to our teachers. But if somebody would ask me to, talk in English with somebody, I would not be able to. I just didn't know how to. Um, but eventually, as I entered into college and started working, I gradually improved my English, and I know there are many factors and many reasons behind it which have worked for me, and I would like to share them with all of you. So, let's get started. Uh, First of all, the thing is that there are many tools through which you can improve your speaking skills in English, but the base of all of them is same, and that base is improving your thinking in English. Or in other words, I would say that when you start thinking in English, you automatically become good in speaking. So basically what happens with majority of us is that when we talk to somebody, we think in our native language or whatever language we speak in our day-to-day lives, and then we try to convert it into English. So that's why it causes delay in speaking, and it causes lags, and we are not able to speak fluently. But if we naturally start thinking in English, then we would be very spontaneous, and it wouldn't take us, some time to think, okay, this is what I want to say, and then convert it into English. So that is a problem that is basically we all of us are facing. So there are many tools to improve that, and that's what I will be talking about. Now, another thing is that we have to remove our mental block of thinking that we are not good at English, because English is just a language and anybody can improve in the language. Okay, so just like you study different subjects when we are in school, when we are in kindergarten, we don't even know how to write, how to spell, but eventually we write, we become so good at it now that it has become our second nature. Similarly, it goes with language. When we practice a language a lot of times, then we eventually become better at it, and it becomes a second nature. Like English becomes a second nature. So it's not hard at all. You just need practice, you just need to do it over and over again, and don't ever think like you are not good at it. You are just at the beginner level, and when you will put efforts, you will one day become good at it. um Also, in this video, I want to be saying that, with these tools, I would be sharing you can improve your English in 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year, because, it all depends on how much effort you put in, and how, how consistent you are in doing that, and how much you do that. For example, the base is thinking in English, so how much you do that. So it all depends on that. You can even become very good at English in 1 month, and it can even take you years to be fluent. So let's start with the tools. The number one tool which I think is effective is listening. And I'm not asking you to listen to English grammar lessons, but I'm asking you to listen to things in English, whether it is movies, whether it is web series, whether it is podcast, or or audiobooks, or anything that you can listen in English which you like. Because what happens that when you listen more and more, you start focusing on the way they are speaking, and the words they are speaking, the dialogues they are speaking. And if you're really interested in that conversation, for example a particular book or a podcast, you start picking up those words or phrases in your vocabulary. So what time would happen is that even if you have not consciously studied that anywhere, but because you listen to that phrase in that movie, it becomes a part of you, and you never know when you will automatically start using it in your language. So that's why listening is very important. Whenever you watch movies, don't watch them in Hindi. If you are watching Hollywood movies, watch them in English only. And eventually you will know that you have become very good at understanding English, and you have become very good in automatically speaking some phrases. It helps a lot. So make it a habit to start listening things in English. Don't avoid that at all, even if you don't understand at the initial level because of their accent or because of some things. You can use subtitles, or you can just skip some things, but try to understand that, and it will eventually help you. um Next is make videos. This is my favorite habit, or I would say the favorite tool of all. Just like I'm making a video right now, you can do in a similar way. Like, open your phone or a laptop and open the camera and start recording yourself. Why do I say this? Is because when you record a video of you, you have to think on the spot. Okay. And when you have to think on the spot, you can't, think in your native language and then start converting. Okay, this is what I have to say about this topic. You just pick a topic, for example, my hobbies, and then start talking about them instantly in that language, in English language. And you have to think uh, when you will record, and it will help you improve your English, improve your speed in speaking. So what happens that if we go for any interview, for example, or if we are talking to any person in English, for example, we find it difficult because we don't do it daily. We normally talk to everybody in our native language in our homes and with our friends, but instantly when that opportunity comes, we are very afraid because we are not used to that language. But when you will record videos in English every single day with yourself, even if it is just for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, you will develop a habit of speaking in English or thinking in English. And that's why it is very helpful. You can even upload these videos on YouTube or on Instagram, to see, to monitor how much you're progressing each day. And one day you will definitely get better. If you do this daily, you will definitely get better. So just talk to yourself in English. So most of the time, if you have noticed, the one person we talk to the most is your own self. So when we are sitting, when we are cooking, when we are just, in a bathroom, we just talk to ourselves in our head and we think about what are we gonna do in a day, or we start talking to someone in our head whom we don't talk to in real life. So all these things happen. So whenever you talk to anybody, or whenever you talk to anybody in your head, just talk in English. Talk to yourself in English. Okay, I'm liking this food. I am going for a run, and I'm liking working today. And I'm very angry because my boss scolded me today. So talk to yourself in English, express your feelings in English, and it will also help you in thinking in English. Next is writing. Now, most of us are not writers, and it's really difficult. It doesn't come naturally to most of us, but to some of us it does. But why do I recommend writing is because when you write something, when you try to write something in English, you have to think. And again, the muscles in your head start functioning very efficiently. Also, when you write, you just don't write any random stuff. You think a lot when you write. Okay, so if even if I'm expressing my feeling, I try to think that this is how I'm feeling, and then I try to express it in English. So it takes some effort, and it helps building your mind muscles to think faster and to think in a very, you know, good way, in a very communicative way, not just normal English. So writing is good. So writing also helps in making helping you articulate better. So, like, if you're going for anything, You don't have to just talk about your career, okay? You even have to talk about yourself, you even have to talk about what you do. And to be able to converse in a proper way in all domains, you should be able to think in all domains. So writing helps you that in that way, because when you write, you don't just write about a particular topic. You write about your feelings, you write about your opinions, your observations, and in that way you basically develop your thinking abilities in all way. Next is reading books. um, Read books that interest you. Don't just read books for the sake of reading, but because it will eventually tire you out. So you can even pick up story books, and like if you're an athlete, if you like gymming, you can pick up fitness books, health books. And if you're into spirituality, you can read books regarding that. And this habit also helps us in the same way that listening helps, because when you read new phrases, new books, you adapt different styles of talking. So different authors and different books talk in different ways, and they also talk in a formal way when they are writing in a book. So that is also a good thing, that you're developing a formal kind of speaking style or thinking style, but you're also gathering different ways of, uh, different ways of using English. So when you read fiction, English is used in a different way. When you read a non-fiction or a thriller book, English is used in a different way, or a poem. So you learn all those uses of English, and it might seem a little complicated, but when you develop a reading habit and you read things over time, you gather so much that even you don't realize that, okay, when I started speaking those things, or when did I learn those things? You don't realize that you're learning along the way. So that is a fun part. Um, Next is, I think this is the sixth one. It is talk to people. Now, I personally found it very challenging when I was in school, because none of my friends used to talk in English. We all used to talk in a native language, which is Hindi. And that's why I found it very difficult to be able to practice. But when I entered into college, I had to do most of the things in English. Like, people there had a habit of speaking in English, so I also had to. And if there were any society interviews or placement interviews or anything I was doing, I had to speak in English. So that helped me a lot in becoming fluent, in being able to um, think in those directions. And then when I entered into workplace, all the communication happens in English. So even if you fumble in the initial phase of your life, when you eventually do it daily over and over, you become good at it. And right now I'm also working with my boss who only speaks English. So his native language is English. So that is also helping me to improve my way of speaking and developing or adding new words to my vocabulary. But since most of us don't have access to people who speak in English, what we can do is we can use different apps that helps us connect with people in different countries who speak English or who want to practice with us, who also want to improve their English. So there are a lot of apps. Now, again, I used it in my initial journey, but I found that a lot of our time wastes in that, because when we're talking to someone, our focus shifts from improving our English to talking to that person, and then we start talking about all the things that don't really benefit us, and even we start talking about we start talking eventually in a native language when we start connecting with that person. So it doesn't really help. Instead, what I would suggest you is that talk to a person who is dedicated to helping you improve your English, like a tutor or something. So I think there are some apps which are specifically dedicated to giving you access to tutors for an half an hour or 1 hour, which can help you correct or which can help you practice. Definitely, they would charge you, but I think that is a better way to save your time. Um, And last is this is last for me. I would tell you why it is last, but the last is improving your basic grammar. So improving your basic grammar doesn't mean you have to, remember or learn all the grammar formulas. No, but there are some basic way in which grammar is helpful. Like, for example, when to use have and when to use has. Should we use didn't know or didn't knew? And when should we use have been or will be? So there are a lot of verbs which we don't understand when to use. And it happens with a lot of us when we are in the initial phase of learning English. But when you learn tenses and when you learn understand active, what is active voice, what is passive voice, and reported speech and indirect speech, I forgot. But when you understand these things, you are able to speak English properly, like without mistakes. So, like till sixth class, I didn't knew any grammar at all. My grammar was very bad. But in seventh class, I got a teacher who taught us all these things in a very formula way. Like for past tense, you have to use this verb, this plus this. And we, in fact, we learned those tables for the for whole of our seventh standard. We practiced those formulas. And initially we were like memorizing it, but eventually we started understanding, okay, when to use has, when to use have, and what does past participle mean or future continuous tense means. All those things became very easy for us, and then we stopped making all our grammar mistakes. Even if we were not able to speak fluently or do things fluently, we had a perfect grammar. So invest some time in that, and it won't take much time. It would just take you, I think, 1 month, uh, even if you invest just 1 hour a day. And why I say this is a last step, because initially you have to focus on being able to speak fluently, even if you make errors. But eventually, you have to start speaking right. You can't make mistakes. You can't say that, you know, I am, I have done sleeping when you are sleeping right now. I know it's a silly sentence, but I think we all make these kind of mistakes, but mistakes are not acceptable when you are in the professional world, and they reflect poorly on your personality. So eventually, you will become good at it, but on the basic level, you have to focus on just being able to speak, even if it's wrong. So, these are all the tools I used in my journey over and over again, and it helped me develop a much better speaking English. And like I basically stopped listening to all the Hollywood movies in Hindi or doing all those stuff because I realized that it is not helping me in any way. And eventually, I have to, learn English. I This is not an excuse because these days everybody talks in English, everything happens in English, and if you just keep taking that excuse, no, I'm not good at it, then that excuse won't take you anywhere. You just have to invest time, and it will definitely help you eventually. So, if that feels overwhelming to you, don't feel overwhelming. Remember, the number one thing that you have to imbibe in you is the ability to think in English. Like when I'm talking right now, I'm not thinking in my Hindi language, I'm directly thinking in English. And that's what you have to be able to do. Like when you speak, just think in English. So the easiest way to do is to just talk to yourself in that language, which is English. Whenever you are sitting, doing anything, thinking, just thinking before sleeping, or waking up, or talking to yourself in mirror, like how am I looking. Just use English as a medium of communication with yourself. You don't need anybody, you don't need any tools. If you just start developing this basic habit, so I think it would definitely be helpful for all of you. And right now, I am also focusing on increasing my fluency further, and you will also be able to do it if you put little efforts each and every single day. And I hope to see you all in my further videos, in upcoming videos. And if you have any questions, if you feel any fear or intimidation still when it comes to, English as a part of life, comment below. I will definitely help you, or you can even message me on LinkedIn for any help, and I will definitely assist you. So, goodbye. Have a nice day. See you later.